Welcome, gentlemen. We have returned to the trenches today to talk about my civilian IAR. Let's get right into it. Drinking a blueberry pomegranate Zions today because I've always wanted to be 2007 Chuck Liddell, the Iceman. I said this in my last video, and I will continue to say it. YouTube is real sensitive about these types of things, fast firing things. So I'm not going to say some words FA, which this technically isn't, but you know what I'm talking about. So I'm just not going to say it. Now, don't get me wrong. I do not have any military experience, no law enforcement experience. This is just what I've gathered from watching YouTube videos, I guess, among other research, but I am talking out of my ass here, so take it all with a grain of salt. I'm just going to lightly touch on the subject, and then, you know, if you're interested in it, you can look deeper into it. What is an IAR? IAR stands for Infantry Auto Rifle. Now, I am not infantry, nor is this auto, but let's get into it. What is the purpose of an IAR? Well, it is essentially supposed to look like a regular infantry rifleman's rifle with having the capability of sustained fire and higher capacity, while maintaining the silhouette of a regular soldier so as to not be targeted by the enemy, because it's sort of standard procedure for machine gunners to be targeted. Drop a comment below if you do have any actual experience with LMGs, the SAW, or any such weapons. But as far as I understand it, the purpose was just to have a rifle with more sustained fire capabilities. We'll get into what makes it have those capabilities in a second, while also having a rifle that appears to be a regular infantry rifle. Get into a quick breakdown of the build and tell you why this is not an optimal auto rifle setup. Shooting guns as a big guy. Starting at the end, we have it, you know it, you love it, the Silencer Co. Hybrid 46M in the long configuration. We've got the Magpul bipod here. I got this from Dirty Civilian, actually, the idea. They bought something for this. I just tied a piece of paracord around my bipod. You just pull down in the middle, flips them both out. Pretty sweet, I like it. Then I've got the Surefire Scout on there. It does have a light cap. I 3D printed it myself. Link in bio, just kidding. Could you imagine if I just started selling shitty 3D printed parts like every other gun guy that has a 3D printer? The Surefire light does have the pressure pad. Then I've got the Magpul XTM hand stop with some extra rail scales on either side. Now I've got the canted at 45 Romeo 5 from SIG. You know it, that I don't even, is this a duality of man moment? Who knows, but I do love my Romeo 5s. On top, we have the SIG Tango 1-6. I actually really like this optic for the money. It's a pretty good deal. I also have 3D printed kill flashes on the end of my optics. I 3D printed them as well. It is an arrow upper, complete arrow upper. The bolt is the Daniel Defense bolt from my Mark 18. The lower is the Daniel Defense lower from my Mark 18 with the Atrius Super Selector in there. I'm running the D60 Magpul drum mag, breech, Air Precision breech charging handle, and a B5 Systems SOP Mod enhanced stock with the Magpul MS3 sling. Talking about the whole loadout for a second here. Obviously we went over the rifle. I've got a plate carrier on with level 3 plates in it. Then the Onward Research recce rig. I've got a hard-headed veterans level 3A ballistic helmet, mystery wrench, backpack. As far as magazines here, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8 30-round PMags, 1 60-round Magpul drum, and I've got in my backpack a coupled Magpul coupler with 2 30-round PMags. So why this rifle isn't an optimal IAR. But first, a word from our sponsor. Well, boys, we did it. And by it, I mean I am now partnered with Sour Boys Sour Candy. Oh, how'd that get in there? Whoops. But here's the 4 flavors. All right, fellas, I have now tried all of the flavors of Sour Boys for this month. First place, the acai blackberry raspberry low guys. Very, very good. Second place, the mango passion fruit low guys. Now, if you've ever gone into like a Bath and Body Works or something similar, and you're like, oh man, it smells so good in here, I wish I could eat that bar of soap. That's what this tastes like in the best way. All these flavors are really good, guys. Special thanks to Sour Boys for partnering with me. Feels like a big step forward. They didn't give me any money, they just sent me free candy, which is sick. I actually, every time I go out to shoot, go out to the range, I stop by the town pump and I pick up a bag of sour candy. So now that I got that covered, pretty much got it made, fellas. So check them out, link in the description below. Thanks. Well, the barrel is a medium profile barrel. Typically you'd want a heavier profile barrel because you're gonna have sustained fire. The thing's gonna heat up. Then it's got just a regular gas tube, and regular gas tubes have a bend in the middle where they bend up or down, and under sustained fire with that gas tube heating up, that concentrates stress and you could have a gas tube failure. Things like the Red Right Hand Recce LMG has a real thick barrel with cooling fins and a straight gas tube. I would really like to get my hands on one of those, but they're pretty expensive. So that is essentially the only things that I would really need to change as far as an AR-based auto rifle, IAR. I said this is not an auto rifle, but you might be asking, Nick, in the intro, it looked like it was shooting pretty fast. That is due to the Atrius Systems 3-position forced reset safety. If you don't know what forced reset triggers or safeties are, they just force the trigger forward and allow you to pull the trigger faster. Essentially, it is all legal and it is all still, by the letter of the law, semi-auto. If you'd like to know more about the Atrius Super Selector, I have a video on it. Check it out. Fellas, I have been having the time of my life playing the new Battlefield 6 beta. Obviously, there's some things that could change, but overall, very hopeful. Remember, no pre-orders. Why have an IAR? Well, now we're getting into the weeds a little bit. This is really the wargaming in my head type of stuff. The stuff that I'm not at all prepared for, even a little bit. Not even close to like where Brass Facts is at. I guess, in a scenario where there's been total collapse or whatever, when the robots take over or whatever, you and your squad, not on Battlefield 6, but in real life, might appreciate the capability to have a little fire superiority with some sustained fire rates. And, you know, that's kind of it. I really wanted an IAR just because, you know, thinking about having a machine gun is cool to me, and that's about it. That's why I wanted it. Vibes of a rifle purpose-built to be an IAR, pretty good. pretty sick vibes. I like it a lot. I tried to use the canted red dot earlier and just dumped a whole bunch of brass. Dumped a whole bunch of brass into my bicep there. So this isn't really like a rifle that you can just buy off the shelf. It's an amalgamation of parts. I did do a video on the complete rifle with this arrow upper. I did sort of a pseudo recce rifle build, and obviously just took my Mark 18 upper off this, slapped a stock on it, and put the arrow upper on there. So just a word on the forced reset performance of this build. Compared to the Mark 18, the fire rate is slower. It felt substantially slower while shooting it. It felt like it was just kind of chugging, which for a machine gun type roll is probably better. A slower fire rate is more controllable. You don't dump all your rounds real quick. For something like this, I think that's probably a good thing. Suppression wise, I chose to go with the 46M because with it being bored out to 46 caliber, it's not as much back pressure as like my 36M or my Polonium 30. I knew that I didn't want to get gassed out, so I haven't done anything in terms of changing the buffer. It's just the buffer that came with the Mark 18 and the buffer spring. The breech charging handle is supposed to be a gas busting charging handle. You know, I don't have a mil-spec charging handle out here to compare it to, but shooting like I didn't really ever feel like I was getting gassed out. It was a little gassy, but I didn't really feel like I was getting a bunch of shit back in my face, and my eyes weren't stinging or anything like that, just with these sunglasses on. So to accentuate the ability of having a sustained fire rate, you need more ammo capacity. So I was running the Magpul D60. I also have a Magpul mag coupler with two 30-round PMags. I have a 40-round Magpul mag, and then I also have a 100-round beta drum. Shout out to my boy Jason for that. Gave me that a long time ago. I didn't have enough ammo to fill the beta drum, so that's why it's not pictured. I've always heard these Magpul D60 drums are reliable and that they work good. I haven't shot this drum in several years, just because, I don't know, it didn't really make sense to me to have a 60-round drum on a semi-auto rifle. But the first time taking it out again, it jammed up on me. I put some of that footage in the intro, but I had to smack it off the ground to get it to work again. Why that is, I don't know. Maybe it needs some lubrication or something on the inside, but everybody talks highly of these. I had one like major malfunction with it, so maybe they're not as reliable as everybody says. As far as PMags go, never had a problem with the regular PMags. Those are PMags, you know, industry standard. Should you build yourself an IAR? Yeah, if you've got the means to do it, it's fun at the very least. It's just a fun time. I think the capability is cool. Hopefully it won't ever be a useful thing for any regular civilian in the United States, but you know, it's sick to just sit on a bipod and rip it, you know? So it's just a lot of fun if you have the means. Not something that I think every person absolutely needs to have. If you have an AR and you want to put a force reset trigger in it and get a beefed up upper, I think it's a pretty cool option. So there. In the intro, you might have also seen this. This is the DNT Hydra thermal optic. I have an American Defense Manufacturing QD mount on there. If you'd like to see a video about this specifically, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I am trying to get some time on it and actually get an idea of its capabilities. So, closing thoughts on my civilian auto rifle build. I love it. I think this is sick. I would really like to get a real purpose-built upper. This is the best that I had right now, but I think the concept is sweet. I think the increased capability is sick. And I just like, you know, flipping it over to fun mode and giving her hell. So that's nothing profound in this video. Well, fellas, thanks for watching. Kind of a quick and dirty one for you today, but I appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. I thank God every day I get to see this view.